watching My News 26. I'm Paula Jasper. Today we're in Reed City, and joining me is Eric Little, president of the Misiola Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Thanks for joining me, Eric.
Thank you for having us.
Now, how is the Misiola Big Brothers Big Sisters program structured?
Well, we serve the Macassar and Osceola children in this program. However, we are a program of Mid-Michigan Big Brothers Big Sisters. And saying that, they're our parent company. They provide us with the executive director who actually does all the legal paperwork and audits and stuff that we have to are required to have. And then also they hire our match specialist, Kelly Schuberg, who's responsible for interviewing the bigs and littles and making sure we have proper matches and make sure they're successful.
How are the matches made?
Well, Kelly Schuberg, like I said, our match specialist, does quite extensive interviewing with our bigs and our littles, and dive deeply into their personalities and their likes and dislikes and things that they like to do, so that when they do have these matches together, it's very little effort on either part to make these things work. They did with myself, and if I may expand a little bit, I've been with the program for a little over 10 years. And I always had excuses why I could not be a big. I'm a police officer. I ranch, I run horses, and I farm, and all dangerous lines of work and stuff like that. So I had every excuse in the book not to do it. My wife was rather upset with me and said, buck up or move out. And so I decided to become a big. The match that they made for me is exceptional. My little is matched with me. He likes to come over and work in my barn, groom my horses, play with my tractors. And so it's very little effort on my part to be his big, and we have a great time together.
Wonderful.
And that's what they'll do for you.
Now, what is a typical profile of a child?
The typical typically what we have kids that where parents can't spend the amount of time that they would like with their children, and so the children aren't getting a good view of how to grow up, and that it's not that parents are doing anything bad. It's just that the economy the way it is, the family structures the way it is, they don't have the time. They have to support the family and don't have enough time to spend with the children. So the Big Brothers program provides mentors for kids so they can see a whole other aspect of life that they're not necessarily getting at home. And it doesn't matter what economic range you're in, from the wealthy people that work 80 hours a week, 7 days a week, to the people that are just struggling to get work and find work. They all have the same issue of not spending enough time with their children, and that's where the mentor program really comes in.
Do you think the fact that you're a police officer influenced your decision to do this?
Yes, it did, in quite a way. I spent a lot of time dealing with people that just for lack of opportunity end up in dealing with the police. And so this little bit of opportunity stops that, or helps redirect energies and thoughts and of stuff that these kids may be having, and gives them a whole other perspective to look at other than the lack of personal contact with other walks of life and such. So it was kind of a put up or shut up. Instead of dealing with them on my work, I have a nice kid to help grow up and move on.
Now, you mentioned to me earlier that this is not instant gratification.
This is not. When you donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters, we don't give out clothes and boots and food, but we give lifelong experiences and education. And so this is an end game program. This is something that the benefits are going to be reaped in 10, 15, 20 years when these kids grow up and become responsible citizens and adults and productive members of society. And that's where our goal is at. And so we don't see that until long after we become a mentor. And these relationships tend to last a lifetime. We have several retired mentors now, but they're still in contact with their littles that they had 15, 20, 30 years later. And those littles are now bigs, mentoring their own littles, and the relationships just build. And it's a wonderful program in that regard. But like I said, this is an end game, so you don't get the instant gratification of seeing something happening right now. It's something that's going to happen a little bit at a time. And like I said, in 10, 15 years is where the big benefit shows up.
What's the procedure for becoming a big?
For becoming a big, you can become a big anywhere in the nation. You need to contact your local Big Brothers Big Sisters office, and you can find that on our internet just by typing in BBBS. And it'll start popping up. If you type in your county that you live in, you'll most likely get a Big Brothers program that's closest to you, or if not within your own county. And there'll be phone numbers you can call to make contact with your local agency to move on.
Thanks for joining me, Eric.
Thank you.
Paula, Jasper, my name is 26 in Reed City.